If you haven't caught on yet, let me break the bad news for you. Titans are the meta ever since Prismatic came out, and they will continue to be until consecration gets nerfed. To give you the short and skinny, I have made a build where you can get more than half of your super back in just one melee. And no, it's not just for roaming supers. As you can see, I am on Thundercrash, and 2 melees out, and I already have my super. What's the tech, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. CUIRASS of the Falling Star just got a buff to where it will grant you super energy upon melee kills if you are amplified, on top of giving Thundercrash a 55% increase to its damage. But these super ability gains are universal. All you need to be is amplified in order to get its benefits. So you can run whatever super you want, even. But we still have some optimizations to still make. So by watching the whole video, you're going to understand the difference between this build being able to carry you through a solo GM or just constantly be out of abilities and completely surrounded by ops. So getting into the build, first let's talk Thundercrash. It's doing absurd damage by default, and by wearing CUIRASS of the Falling Star, it's doing absurd plus 55% more. A lot of people think that it's still a bugged super, but where Bungie has mentioned nerfs to the actual bugged supers, I'm getting the hint that Thundercrash is right where Bungie wants it to be. But of course, this may change later. Currently at base, Thundercrash with CUIRASS of the Falling Star is doing 700,000 and some change. Throwing in all the bells and whistles, and you're looking at an optimized 1.3 million. This is taking advantage of arc compounding with Facet of Courage and a 30% debuff on top of what we already have. So Thundercrash is kind of the way to go. Now for the melee and grenade, it is very important that you have both of these strand variants. Reason being, for the melee, it gives you 3 whole melees, which is 3 whole consecrations. And for the grenade, the shackle grenade gives an awesome amount of darkness energy, which is crucial for getting transcendence back, just so you can have the infinite supply of consecrations at your disposal. With that said, let's move on to aspects. Now that that's over, let's get into fragments. I'm kidding. For those that are new, I got you. First up is consecration, which allows you to turn your pathetic melee into a nuclear bomb. All you need to do beforehand is slide and boom, there they are. Combat rotation wise, consecration is your primary, your special, and your heavy weapon. In other words, the only thing you need when it comes to defeating enemies. And for the other aspect, it's knockout. And this does 3 things which are all very important. Number 1, it heals you on kill. It's a small amount, but with enough adds in one spot, this stacks up quick. Number 2, it's a 50% damage increase to consecration, and who doesn't love more damage, which helps it hold up in endgame content. We're looking at GMs, expert onslaught, master raids, whatever you want to take it into. And lastly, 3, it amplifies you, which is the final piece to the whole puzzle that gives you an insane amount of super energy. A melee ability that annihilates everything, heals you in the process, and amplifies you so your super can come back ridiculously quick. It's a true work of art, to say the least. But now let's get into the fragments, which are more of quality of life when it comes to the actual build. So first up, we got Facet of Ruin. The best part about consecration is that if the enemy can withstand the 2 melees that come out of it, they're going to get ignited afterwards. And with Facet of Ruin, this expands the ignition by 20%. For those that don't know, that's quite massive. Moving on after that, we have Facet of Sacrifice. While knockout makes us amplified, this does the 2 things for us. Synergizes with CUIRASS of the Falling Star to give us more super energy, and with every light-based kill, aka consecration, we will receive a bit of darkness energy, which is very important. Next up, we have Facet of Courage. And pairing this with the shackle grenade can do one of 2 things. It will make your consecration do 10% more damage, or it will make your Thundercrash do 10% more damage, as long as you apply the strand debuff beforehand. Next up is the Titan Special Facet of Protection. When being in the midst of all these enemies, you're gonna be taking damage. Facet of Protection is gonna be here to supply you with a 15% damage reduction. And lastly, just a personal favorite, Facet of Dawn. By scoring a powered melee hit, you will gain Radiance. This gives your weapons a 25% damage boost, along with anti-barrier rounds, which is phenomenal for endgame content. But now that we are completely done with the subclass, it's time to get into weapons, which are not the ones that you currently see right here. These are mid, except for Tractor. That's nice. So getting into it, back to the meme build that actually unironically works, we got the double area denial frame GLs. Now of course this is just an option. Why is it an option that you want to choose? Because area denial frames generate transcendence energy ridiculously quick. And we got one for the light and we got one for the dark. Tractor cannon on top of it all is just a 30% debuff that you can apply to anyone. And when you're in endgame content and you aren't running something like Synthoceps, this perfectly makes up for all of the damage loss. You're still going to be doing ridiculous amounts. trust. But do you need the light area denial frame? That's a great question. The answer is no. Believe it or not, consecration has you more than covered just at its base. The darkness energy, I have noticed it does need a little bit of help. Even with Facet of Sacrifice on, even with the Strand Grenade on, it still appears to be the one side that is lacking a bit. So, if you were going to sacrifice one of the area denials, sacrifice the light one, keep the darkness one. It will need it. Now, another weapon that actually produces a lot of darkness energy would be Tenacious Mastery. For anybody that has farmed the god rule of that, you probably have already never taken the weapon off. It is just that good. And now, you have even more reason to run it. Shattering enemies gives you darkness energy. Just the base weapon as itself gives you darkness energy. It's just a win-win overall. But now that we're done with weapons, or at least we've covered all the ones that I felt like were important, it's time to get into the mods. Now for the mods here, normally we don't have a lot of important ones, but for this build, I do think that this is the most optimal version of itself. So starting it off, we got triple hands on. It's just a further push getting that super back just all the more quickly. Now to give you a statistic that obviously is not so fleshed out yet, looking at the Compodium, with 3 mods stacked onto your helmet, you're looking at an additional 5% per kill. And just by looking at some base footage, you could tell that consecration is able to kill more than one ad at a time. And this stacks up ridiculously quick along with CUIRASS of the Falling Star. Going on over to the hands, we're going to have 3 heavy-handed mods. For the reason being that by triple stacking heavy-handed, this reduces your cooldown all the way to 1 second for when consecration can generate an orb of power for you. And these orbs of power are actually very important to us. But to briefly go over chest, it is just your standard defense mods. Of course, match it to whatever activity you're in. And for the legs, here's what we got. We have an invigoration. For all the orbs that we're spawning, we're going to get a little bit of melee energy back. We have a recuperation. Though knockout does heal us, it doesn't hurt to just have the little extra bit of survivability. Lastly, we have a stacks on stacks. This allows you to, every time you pick up an orb of power, you gain 2 armor charges. And you're going to see what we're going to be using those armor charges for right now. And that will be the 1-2 finisher. This mod only works when you have 0 charged melees available. And it will give you 1 upon just scoring a finisher. Which in a sense, if you aren't using Transcendence at the moment and you were out of melees, go for a finisher, use 1 more. Now you got 4. Powerful Attraction just helps collect orbs on the field. It wasn't briefly discussed, but I will go over right now. I am using Thruster only to just quickly pick up orbs. Other than that, this class ability is completely worthless, for we are not taking advantage of anything with inmost life. You could get away with the barricade, definitely a rally barricade just for the shorter cooldown, but yes, your class ability for this build does not matter, for it synergizes with almost nothing on it. Now that does just about wrap it up for this video. Now, if you have enjoyed the video, for me, please like and subscribe. We're on our road to 12K subscribers, and only you can help me get there. I do go live on Twitch. I've been streaming a bit of that Marvel Rivals lately. Been absolutely loving Iron Fist, so maybe you can stop on by and just say hi over there. But for now, I want you all to take care and peace.
Yo, we should power of friendship that guy.
For real. I'm gonna take that guy out.
Talk about it.
That's a good clip.
Tried to let you kill as much stuff there as possible.
Good, my guy. I appreciate it.
You have to. It's not...
Hatch opening and setting that perimeter tower to friendly.
Champs despawned.
You're welcome.